So I got transferred then to Orlando in the city itself, and we lived pretty much in the ghetto. So we lived in like a really nice. There was like a little village with like 3 apartment complexes, and so that was really nice. And then as soon as we left, it was just kind of ghetto. Just definitely like a spot where a lot of crime happened. Um, but it was so much fun just biking around in that area. There was this one time I was with my he was one of my favorite companions. I was training him at the time, but we were biking just in Orlando. And the sisters, of course, in our ward had like the really nice spot by the temple, and we were over here like in the city, like the slums. And we had an appointment. We had no idea if it was going to be solid or not. We had met her like the day before, and she was rushing off to get on the bus. So we grabbed her information and said, "Can we come by?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, come tomorrow." And we're like, "Okay, we'll come. We'll try it." And so we were biking, and I remember the name of the street. It was Paramore Street. Um, and we just like were biking, and we passed under this bridge, and there was tons of homeless people under there. It was really sad. Um, I didn't know, like we had no idea what to do, so we kept biking. Um, and then we got to the little complex where we were supposed to meet this girl. Um, and there was just a bunch of guys out there that looked like they were up to no good. And I definitely had this feeling like we were not in a good place. Luckily, the Lord had His eye out for us, and we ended up getting to talk to the girl as well. But I just remember it was pretty scary. Like I won't lie, that's probably the most scared I was on my mission in that area. So I don't know, there were some scary areas, but I think I learned later that was like on that street, Paramore Street, is like one of the highest crime, like the most crime committed, like in however square miles or whatever, like very dense in like all of Orlando. That was like made the news a couple of times. So it was kind of sketchy, but we loved it anyway. In one of the areas in Orlando that I lived in, we lived like right down the road from Universal Studios. Um, there's that, Disney World, SeaWorld, all that stuff. Probably, I don't know how many percentage of the people that lived in Orlando actually work at those places, but it was probably a lot. Um, and so there was plenty of that. I would say definitely there was a ton of like everything, but it seemed like lots of South Americans, definitely a lot of Spanish speakers that I had no idea how to speak Spanish, so we'd kind of make stuff up and show them the Book of Mormon and be like, missionaries, Espanol, and we'd try and get their information and stuff. Definitely lots of Spanish people. It was a super dense population, lots of like apartment complexes, lots of people walking, riding bikes, taking the bus. It was just, I loved being in Orlando because there was always people to talk to. You didn't have to really go knocking on doors a ton when we still would when it was kind of a more low hour, but people on the street all the time, just walking around, and you're able to talk to them. So that was really cool. I remember there we were right by the Citrus Bowl, so definitely a huge spot for college football over there. I was in one of our areas. That was cool. Um, I remember, I don't know, there's a lot of drugs, and sometimes you just smell it. People smoking stuff, you're like, I don't even want to know what that is. And we saw a drug deal once. It was actually, we were talking to this guy, teaching him, and we weren't really sure if he was going to progress or not. But it was like one of our first lessons with him. I think we were talking about the Book of Mormon or something. But like one of his friends came along, and he just pulled him aside. He's like, "Hey, I'll be right back with you guys." I'm like, "Okay, like what's going on?" Anyway, so we saw a drug deal. Like passed him money, and he gave over some pills or something. So we just like started laughing really hard. We didn't know what to do. But yeah, so there's lots of drugs and alcohol. Definitely had a few drunk interactions. unfortunately, there's all that, and a lot of actually prostitution. There was one street in particular, Orange Blossom Trail, um, where you go out at night and there's girls just walking the street waiting for people to pick them up and stuff. And so I was really sad to see just the lifestyle that some people chose to live, as well as some of them, chose as well, but had to live like that to make money. And so it was kind of sad to really witness just the lifestyle of a lot of people in the part of Orlando that I was in. But I think it made me more motivated just to do the work that we were doing, because I knew that there were so many people that needed it. Obviously the temple, when we would go back there. But there was this one place that we would go eat at all the time. It was called Kim Woo. It's just like this Chinese buffet. And it was a little bit more expensive, but it was like a good buffet, so we went all the time. It was just like right on the corner of our area, and we went there like probably once a week. And the guy that like worked there at the time, I don't know if he owned it or was a manager or whatever, but he would start bringing us out like fruit, just like free fruit, because we came so much, and we were like kind of pals with him. So that was really fun. So I would definitely, hopefully my parents and I can go back there. I don't know if they even like Chinese, but we're going to take them there. Right where we were, a lot of people, there's plenty of Florida teams. There's the Gators up in Gainesville. Florida State, they were huge, especially I think they were doing really well one of the years that I was there in football. UCF is a huge one. University of Central Florida, the Knights, a lot of people that were big fans of the Knights. But yeah, I didn't know a whole lot about sports and what was going on at the time. Funny stuff happens on the street with like these people that I don't know, like one of my companions and I don't know, I don't know if we got hit on quite a few times. I would have guessed that's what it was. I kind of was probably blind to it because we were missionaries. But there's these like plenty of girls out on the street, just like, I don't know what they were doing, but definitely we had some interactions with that. It was pretty weird. There was a couple times police got called on us just because we were knocking. I don't know, just a lot of conflict with us trying to do our work and people not wanting us to do our work.